Well, hello, good people. It's time for an episode of Creatively Shaded, your destination for all things Bay Area theater and beyond, honey, where the dish is served and the tea is hot. So let's join our hosts, Bay Area Black artists,
Elizabeth Jones, Phaedra Tillery Belton,
ShawnJ West.
Come peek behind the curtain.
What up? Welcome back to the ninth episode of Creatively Shaded.
Creatively Shaded.
We're back.
We're back and we're black.
Hella black.
So we just took a cheers to, unfortunately, Black History Month has come to an end. However, we're black all year long and we celebrate all year long.
That's
So
right.
continue your celebrations, continue to support black art. Continue to go out and see us because we deserve that.
And continue to learn about Black history because Black history is American history.
And don't ask nobody black about Black history. Learn for yourself.
Ooh, you better
That's
tell
so
me.
statement. She has
Well,
some.
we getting started. We getting right away on top of it today.
Yes. All right, so 9 times out of 10, if there's a black show going on, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, one of us or all of us at the same time. So we've been out up in these streets. And one of the shows that I had the privilege to see was our girl, Phaedra Tillery Belton.
Hey.
She was in a play reading entitled The Black Feminist Guide to the Human Body at the Lorraine Hansberry Theater, featuring Phaedra Tillery Belton. I had to say it twice in case you forgot. It was incredible. It was an incredible work. Can you please remind me of the playwright's name?
Lisa Thompson.
Yes, Lisa B. Thompson.
Yeah,
that's
Lisa
right.
B. Thompson. An amazing playwright, a scholar, an educated black woman. And this was performed. It was with the Lorraine Hansberry Theater,
Yes.
but it was performed at the MOAD,
Absolutely.
which is the Museum of African Diaspora, which was really cool because I had never been there. So we were able to do the reading, which, of course, the reading itself, the words of Lisa B. Thompson are for black women. If you need some healing, if you need to talk about what you're going through, or you feel like there's no art that represents you, this show does. And I think it does a very good job. Black women of all shapes, sizes, where they come from, what they experience, we all have a bond, and she was able to really like
absolutely.
hit the nail on the head.
And I was in the audience, and I had all the feelings. I was going through everything, and it was a collective experience.
Yeah.
And what was so incredible about it was that we also had an opportunity to be able to take notes and give feedback.
Yeah.
So that our input can possibly be put into the show because it's coming back in September, the full production. So stay tuned. Why am I excited like this? Let me
Who's the
tell you
director
something.
behind?
Oh, Margot Hall. How can we
Margot Hall.
forget? We just get so excited sometimes. I know I do. I just
You
get
excited?
I am. It was directed by Margot Hall.
Do you know the other actors in the piece? Or
That were performed in the
Yes.
piece. Yes, there was Idris Cooper and Asia Jackson.
Yes.
And they were both amazing performers. It's only a 3-person show. The show is about a woman who's in her 60s, an educated woman who's in her 60s, and like the review of her body and what she's experienced as a black woman in America. And basically a love letter to black women to teach them how to love themselves and acknowledge everything you've been through. So the 3 characters are the woman, and then it's her soul and her spirit.
Yeah.
And so they're all talking to each other, and they all have these different personalities, and then they come in and the characters change and they become the grandmother, they become different people in her life. But just the beauty of black women, that's what I don't want to give all of it away, but I cried all weekend cathartically. I felt healed, I felt seen, I felt represented, I felt like I spoke to black women in the audience. I felt like I saw them being healed. I saw tears. I saw energy. And then there was a talk back afterwards. And there was wine afterwards. It just was a healing, very good space.
True sister.
So, yeah, for sure. One of the most important black pieces of art I've ever worked on in my life to
Wow.
That's that.
this date. Hands down.
And Lisa is a comedian. She is hilarious.
Yes.
She was cracking all kinds of jokes. And what's so incredible is that she's a San Francisco native.
Yeah.
So-
She's from the Bay.
She is from here. She grew up here. Okay, she rep us hard.
Yeah, so that's going to go up as a full production for Lorraine Hansberry Theater in the fall. So we'll definitely keep you updated with those deets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what else did we see?
We also saw People Where They Are at San Jose Stage.
Okay, you and ShawnJ went to see that one.
ShawnJ
Yes.
and I went to see that. So what did you think about that, ShawnJ?
It was great. It was one of it unfortunately has already closed. So by the time you see this, but I liked it because it spoke about the unionization that Martin Luther King was about to start delving into, which I think there's been talk that was probably the real reason why he got assassinated, because he was bringing poor people and black folks together, and now it'll be like, oh no. And so the story was about an African American woman who's organizing, bringing different people from walks of life together in this setting, in this rural little town that is a sundown town.
Yeah.
And so the danger in that, the danger of commuting mixed people together. And so I was very enthralled in it. It was very moved. It was great use of the stage. It was in three-quarter round.
Nice.
You know, the round.
I like those
Yeah,
so
so
much. They're so intimate.
Very, very intimate, and it was a good use of the space. And we knew several people in the show: Captain Ridley,
Yes.
Terrence Smith.
Yes.
Um,
Hey, Terrence.
yeah. Apparently, he's both y'all's theater husbands.
Yeah, he's my husband too.
Not getting giddy, but yeah, our show didn't even get to go on. But
Terrence, you
my
come
show.
around.
he plays a good husband. He knows to take care of his wife.
He do. Yeah, it was a really great show.
Yeah. I don't know if it's unfortunate or sad, is that it's getting audience for our shows, right? And
Yeah.
getting us, particularly black folks, to see our shows.
Absolutely.
In spaces that are either far away or mostly white spaces. So I think the challenge of that is we're not being witnessed by a larger number of folks that it could be.
I agree
We're
with
gonna
that.
touch on that in a little
Are we
bit.
gonna touch
But
because we felt the same way. We saw Bees and Honey last
Yes.
night,
Yeah.
which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was an, I want to say it right, it's an Afro-Latino
Yes.
style show. So it's a relationships show. It was at Marin Theater Company.
Yes.
And it was a relationship show about this couple and what they go through, like current. I want to say it was current time.
It was. It's the new play that was recently put on off Broadway in 2023. So it's brand spanking new.
It's really, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the dialogue because the dialogue made me feel at home.
Yeah.
The conversations. You know how you go to see a white love story and it's two people and it's fine and they like have jokes about friends or like shows that we don't watch and you're like, oh, this has jokes about things that we understood. It was talking about what's his name?
It ain't.
The one with the muscles, that with the boxing movie. What's his name?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. It had like Michael B. Jordan jokes. It had Morris Chestnut jokes. It had things that were like relatable for me. And the couple digged at each other, were throwing blims and the whole thing. Just the way we love and the way our love works in the Black community. And again, respecting the Afro-Latino community because that's what it was about. But it just felt like home for me. And I love that was a story that just felt like home. Even though it wasn't a big, like, had this big mission or thing you needed to walk away with it from. Actually, it just was, to me, I felt like it was a love story and a relationship story that just went through times and went through stuff.
So it's a two-hander, right?
Yes, two people. And they were heavy hitters and they were able to do some incredible
I was interested in them the entire show.
Me too.
And how long is the show?
It was 90 minutes. There was no intermission, and they kept me. I was like, ooh, I saw my own marriage play out.
Yeah,
And I was like, I'm glad I'm
relationships,
divorced.
arguments, disagreements, because they also like I guess there's family things come
You
up.
mean life?
Yeah. Do black people
was like
live
a
life
window
too?
into a black relationship.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that makes us human again. It makes it's good to see ourselves, but it's also good for other people to see that and to see that we all go through stuff and we all have relationship stuff, and we all have work that we bring home, and how we navigate life. Like, it was good. I enjoyed it.
It's hard. Yes.
Well, because the thing is, and this is, I wish white folks would understand that it is important for you all to see these stories.
Yes.
Because then you, like, to your point, we're humanized, but also you see that we are very similar to you all. We love, we hurt, we go through all that same thing in this story. Because I remember that script kind of came to me when I was going to pitch it to another theater company.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they probably won't want to do it because it's just too hinder. But it's so, and I see it next week because I had previews last night, so I was able to join you all. But I think it's one of those things that when we get the opportunity to tell stories that are inclusive of the American diaspora, you know, is that it's so refreshing.
It is.
So I'd love for us to talk deeper about like what your experience was in the audience.
Yeah, we will.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so ShawnJ wanted to talk about this next segment, which is Treat Us Right.
Why you guys say ShawnJ?
Oh, Star Diva?
That wasn't me.
That wasn't Star Diva.
Who was it?
This is a letter that was sent by a patron who attended the Wiz.
Sorry.
At the Warwick?
Let me make sure.
Golden Gate?
No, this wasn't done. It was at
Golden Gate.
the Golden Gate Theater. Yeah, that's
Golden
right.
Gate.
So I know someone had a bad experience going to see the Wiz. And they wrote a letter about their experience. And this is what we've talked about here on Creatively Shaded before. And we want to get Black bodies back into the audiences, but we have to treat them right once they arrive. And so it's not just, it's about community outreach, but it's also about training people inside of your theater on how to navigate worlds that include us. And that we are never going to watch theater the way you watch theater. We're not the same people. We weren't raised the same. We don't move the same. We don't talk the same. That's why we're different. And we're all made different.
Absolutely.
And so there is a difference when there's a Black audience. And especially if there's a Black show on stage and then there's a Black audience, I'm going to tell you right now, it changes the dynamic in the room.
Every time.
The actors on stage, me being one, it changes how I perform, and not in a way that I need more attention, in a way that I feel supported and freer and safe. So I'm going to give you a few excerpts. I was able to get my hands on this letter.
And now, just a quick question.
Yeah.
So this was an acquaintance of yours.
Yes.
Who attended a performance of the Wiz.
Of the Wiz.
And they took their family and...
They took a few members from their family as a treat. And we all know the tickets, we had a conversation here.
We did.
It was not a cheap show to attend. So those families that live in San Francisco, which is also really hard to it's financially hard. And the Bay Area is hard. So when you go and you take 2 or 3 people with you, that's $200-$300 tickets, including you going to dinner or whatever you may need to do. Mm-hmm. So this person specifically had a poor time at seeing the Wiz, and so I just want to read an excerpt of the letter that was written. Throughout the performance, a staff member acting on behalf of a complaint for the sound director, I believe that they're speaking of the stage manager possibly, continuously approached my family and me, claiming that our voices were disturbing the show or feeding into the back room of the stage. Despite our efforts to comply with their request, it became evident that we were being unfairly targeted. Other patrons in the vicinity were also making noise, yet we were singled out repeatedly. What particularly is troubling is the staff member who kept approaching us with complaints acknowledged that we were not being overly loud, but simply enjoying the show that we had paid for. In fact, she even suggested that the sound guy was racially profiling us. It was disheartening to be subjected to such treatment in a space that should be welcoming and inclusive to all patrons. And I'm just going to go further and saying that she went on to encourage them of what they can do to change these behaviors.
Also, she didn't just...
she didn't just complain. She gave advice on how to fix the issue.
Feedback.
I urge you to investigate this matter thoroughly and take appropriate action to address the racial discrimination that occurred during the performance of The Wiz. This may include conducting sensitivity training for staff members, implementing anti-discrimination policies, and ensuring that all patrons are treated with dignity and respect.
Amen, honey.
So we say all this to say there's been a lot of talk lately about how our theater companies are being reviewed. And the conversations, who's going to the theaters and who's allowed to speak publicly on behalf of what they saw and how it affects the theater. So we urge all of you to do just like this. If you're feeling that the critics that are coming to your theater or your shows are not representing your blackness, then encourage your friends, your family members to write letters, not only just like this that are about the unhappy situations, but put on social media, put on your in your emails to the theater company. Go talk about what you experience like we do on our podcast.
Yeah.
Stop expecting white people to review our black arts and then want them to say something positive about our black art, which they will never understand.
Never.
So I would add to that. So similarly, that was a negative experience at a theater company for which you have also experienced in the lobby of a house manager. I would say in addition to that, what we want to do also is encourage theater companies when you are hiring your staff, you are training your staff, is make them aware that we welcome all
patrons
into this space. And I think there was also on that they had offered her food or something, or
that's more detailed. I gave you bits and pieces.
Right,
they moved. Long story short, at intermission they moved them away from the sound guy to a better seat, and the rest of Act 2 they were able to enjoy. But they were offended that they missed all of Act 1, and they were bothered. Apparently, this usher must have came back towards them several times during Act 1. It wasn't just one time. It was several times they were approached. And that doesn't feel good, and that's why we're not. That's why you don't see us in the theater, because we have not felt safe. So making blackout nights, or making nights that have affinity spaces for black people, that tells us, one, that we're safe there and that we're okay with being ourselves, because we know how we are. A lot of us know exactly what we are and how we're going to behave in a theater. Yeah. So laughing and clapping and yes, ma'am, and that's who we are. That's in the soul and the spirits of who we are.
Yes.
And that's the way in which we're going to review theater.
Absolutely.
Now, white folks,
So,
you don't like that, don't go on a Tuesday, okay?
well, no, I don't care if you don't like that. Don't go on a Tuesday, go on a Wednesday. But the reality is, when there are people different from you in that space, they are having their experience.
Yeah.
You are having yours. And granted that yours might be a quiet, internal one. Do not shame.
Please don't do it.
Those who are having more of an outward experience of that, because I remember when we did go see the San Jose show, we were in one seat.
Yes.
And then we moved because it was chilly, right?
Yeah.
And the moment we moved, I saw there was an older white gentleman in front of us, and I went, "Oh crap, he ain't gonna like the way Liz laughed." Like we have already prepared and conditioned ourselves to know that this is the experience that we're gonna have when there are other people in that space. So what I would love to do is for theater companies, as we are doing this, we would love blackout nights, right?
Blackout nights.
Like, reach out to us. We can connect you. Let us help you. Like, we're here to help get those done because we want that to happen. And then on your other note about reviewing shows, what we need our community to do is when you go see a show, get on your social.
Yep.
And you review that show. Go, I went to see this show and it was A, B, C, and D, and I recommend you all go see it. Right?
Absolutely.
Because there has been a recent review from I can't say writer because I don't know.
A person who put a pen to a paper.
A reviewer who did not understand a certain show, right?
Right.
And their review was kind of harmful, right? But instead of, don't invite that reviewer.
No, I'm going to keep inviting her. That's her opinion.
It's her opinion.
Don't invite her if you feel like she's discriminative with black people. I'm not going to invite that reviewer to see my black show.
Right, and that's the thing. Don't invite.
And start inviting people who you think that should be in part of your show. We said this over and over again on this episode. Get into your community. Stop doing black shows if you don't want to talk to black folks in the community.
Speak on it. Because it's absolutely true.
It's more than just doing a black show and hoping we just show up. It's going and being inside of that community. It's going having those conversations. You know what, Phaedra? You seem to know a lot of people. How do we invest in you? How do we take care of you so that you can bring your community? Have the conversations.
Yeah.
And do it with intent. Good intent.
Good intent.
Good intent, not because you want these bills paid at this building, because you want to see black people win. And you want to see us enjoy theater because we deserve it just as much as you.
Because when we do show up, trust and believe, we're going to be critical.
Yeah.
And we see that, they're just...
Absolutely.
It's all surface.
Yeah, our critique is not going to look the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's like our ways of doing things. Somebody be like, "Oh, what girl?" It might be an expression, a moan, a groan, a comment. That is just as valid as the written word.
Yeah.
It's just as valid. And so, speaking of which,
Uh-oh. Well, Liz,
I'm just speaking of which, I'm just going to add a little bit more onto this, because what was interesting too is that it's always interesting to me how the black bodies got to be on the stage, but you don't do the work to get the black bodies in the seat. And you need to recognize the fact that there may have been harm that may have been done in the community. So what are you doing to rectify that? Mm-hmm. What are you doing to extend the olive branch? So for example, last night, I'm going to put it out there, okay? Last night, we went to see the show. There was some bees and honey.
Where?
Which is in Marin. Marin. That is a particular population of people. Black people are there, but they are not in the majority. So last night, during like the midpoint in the show, when it was getting quite heated, because you know when black folk get heated, it was real, right? So the people behind us, I overheard them. I said, my ear went like this. It perked up. I said, what they doing? Right? So I overheard them say, we wasted our money. This is not what we paid for. Okay, let's get up. So they were basically saying this is not what they paid for, right? They wasted their money, and they literally got up and left the show. Which is within their right.
What point of the show was that?
When they were having a heated argument.
The couple was having a heated argument.
So, like, would you say, like, was that an hour in, 20 minutes in?
That was like maybe...
It was about an hour. About 45 minutes.
So the show was halfway over.
It was. And the thing of it is that that's within your right to do so. But I look at it like this. What was done to kind of maybe... Those people didn't know what they were getting into. And whose fault is that? It's not the actor's fault. It's not the other people in the audience's fault. It's the theater company's fault.
No.
I kind of feel like... Well, here's the thing. If it's in a specific location that caters to specific people and you have a specific demographic who you're always catering towards, who you're always expecting to, maybe you need to extend an olive branch to them just to kind of set the tone of what to expect.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Man interrupting woman. I think it's everyone's responsibility, right? Because I go to see a show. I have a friend of mine, Daniel. He doesn't read anything about the show. I say, hey, you want to see the show? He doesn't read anything about it. So he goes in completely blind.
Yeah.
But if you live in Marin and you're going to Marin Theatre Company, you know they do a variety of shows, right?
Oh, they do a lot of black stuff.
They do a lot of black stuff. So if you are a white patron showing up at Marin Theatre Company and you sit down and 5 minutes in, you can say, it's an Afro-Latino couple, right? So this is going to be an Afro-Latino experience.
Yeah.
So you need to, as a theater goer, the whole point of theater is to have an experience. Is sit your ass down
and wait to see what's going to happen.
Take it in. Yeah. Now it's different if, oh crap, I can't hear them. Oh crap, this is really uncomfortable. Or
don't get me wrong. Now I will say, the argument and the way it got heated, people are triggered.
Right.
True.
But
people are triggered, and I don't know if that was their story. I I wasn't listening. I was watching the show.
I was doing both.
And they said this is not what they paid for.
They said that.
I did hear that. And they got up and left. And so I don't know if they were triggered by the heat of the argument, or what. I don't know. And I can't speak to that. Liz's ear was different than mine. But I'm okay with people walking out of a show, because if it moved you, I moved you. I moved you to leave. I moved you to have a feeling.
Right.
And that's, to me, what art is.
True. I just hope that
And
they
it sucks that you didn't receive the rest of it because the rest of it,
because it was incredible.
because the rest of it came back.
It did.
Right? And it came full circle, and it was definitely good. It ended well, and I was satisfied
really
with
well.
it.
Yes,
so
it
it sucks because they didn't wait for that moment.
And so my concern with that, right, is that they left halfway in.
Right.
And who are they talking to?
Right.
After,
Exactly.
Right? And then the people they're talking to are those people going, well, what was the ending like? Oh, we didn't stay to the end. And hopefully that person goes, well, why didn't you stay
to the end?
I hope there's a conversation that takes place as opposed to these patrons going, oh, I went to Marin Theater Company and the show just was not what I had paid for, so I left. And I don't think they should be doing shows like that. I just, like, if they're saying that kind of stuff, that's where it becomes detrimental because you are not fully informed about what you saw. So keep your...
But again, if white folks seeing a black show, I don't care what their opinion is.
I know, but if they're talking to other white folks...
They gonna keep talking us down and they gonna keep throwing us through the mud. Which is why you black folks need to show up and stop and give your opinions. And don't let white folks judge what we doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because we need everyone in the audience. We need white folks that learn.
We need everybody.
And experience this. We just don't need to value their...
No,
we don't need to put weight to it. This I need to have weight to it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a repeat offender.
And you know who you are.
Yes, you
don't
do.
watch that shit.
What are we talking about? You gotta stop giving people energy.
Yeah.
You gotta stop giving them energy. All you do is drown that out when you know it's not for you.
I don't know that particular reviewer. I just know of them. But they have never reviewed a show that I've directed, which have all been black themed. And I think they may not be aware, like, oh, I probably should stay away from this. Because, trust and believe, I'm a vocal Sir Diva, and I will definitely call you on your stuff.
Right.
And so, not that I would put much value. Say, go girl, you didn't get it, bless your heart.
Right.
Right, and keep it moving. But I think we just have to get on social when we see a show. Like you two. Now your responsibility is get on your social.
And I encourage you to open the program.
Yeah.
Most of our ads, our Instagrams are on our social medias. Go, you know what? This actor played this part. She did a good job. Go give us the accolades. Go tell somebody. Because more than likely, the way the Bay Area is small, you tag that one actor, somebody auntie, cousin know them and didn't know they was on stage, and now you gave them an opportunity to go see their niece that they didn't know was doing that show, or somebody behind set. Oh, my cousin was working on that show. You went to see it. It was good. Yeah, go. We have to talk to ourselves.
Yeah, and we did that before social media when we would be packing houses.
Exactly.
Yeah, word of mouth is like the biggest way
So
of
we
getting
really have to just start talking about it. Don't just go see a show and go talk about it. That's how we get ourselves back into because when we know that art is for us, and like when I posted about being a part of the Black Feminist Guide, I put, hey black women, this art is for you.
Yeah.
Go see it. This is what I'm trying to make sure that my audience, my social media understands. I'm now doing art that is for us. So come see it and talk about it. I'm going to keep talking about it.
Absolutely. And then one more thing I want to add about this and move on. After the show, we had an opportunity to meet the cast.
Yeah.
One person in the cast, and her name is Catherine George.
Yes.
And she said something that was so incredible to us. She immediately came up to us and was like,
And
hugged us, thanked us. She said, oh my God, you gave us so much energy.
Life and energy.
We loved having y'all in the show. She was like, who are you? Tell me more about you. And we instantly made a connection. And I speak to that to say that is someone that we don't know. She's not even from here.
She's not from here. They in Marin, it has a history of that, of using actors that are not from here. Right? We talked about that, to be honest and transparent. These actors were not from the Bay Area. However, we still want to support black actors that are gracing Bay Area stages.
And the thing of it is that she had we made a connection. The energy was happening. It was pulsating. That's what we do, right? It's call and response. That's the way that we have connected. And so just
being in the audience made her feel good.
So what we're saying is people of color, black folks especially, and Afro-Latino, please go see Bees and Honey. And I'm sure we could probably get a discount code somewhere and share that with you all, because these folks need you in the audience.
They do. Yeah. And it's only 2 black folks on stage.
It's only 2 black folks. So they seriously need you.
So
I think what we should probably do is maybe figure out maybe a blackout night.
Yeah.
Something and just flood Marin Theater. Flood Marin.
Let's go over there, eat some tacos across the street.
That's what we did.
Yeah, we ate some tacos across the street and walked on across the street and had a good time. The show was good. I really thoroughly enjoyed myself. We laughed.
We did.
We felt emotions. What you want to do when you go to theater? Like,
it was cathartic. It was very cathartic. Moving on.
It's time to move into
Center Stage Shade.
Pow, pow, pow. And actors' responsibility to the material, cast, and the show, right? Why are you calling line during Tech Week? Ooh, you ain't done your homework. You ain't been studying. Or wait, did you book too many shows? And you trying to figure out which line you need to remember?
Okay, so
balance your life and the role you accepted.
I want to add on to that, okay, because I'm guilty of that a little bit. And I'm going to tell you why.
Come on, talk about it.
So I'm one of them weirdo people. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let me just back this up. So a lot of the times when you're in rehearsal, thank you for the reminder. A lot of the times when you're in the rehearsal space, it's not the same space that you're going to ultimately perform in. So what that means is that you're rehearsing in one space, and then you come into Tech Weekend, and oftentimes you're in a completely different space.
You in the stage.
We call that. So one is the rehearsal hall for those who are not familiar, and then there's the actual performance space, just the stage.
Yes.
Right. So you start to see all them chairs, and you get a little nervous.
So you rehearse, and then you go to. The actual stage. And so that means that there's going to be different blocking, there may be some different adjustments, and it's natural that you might like forget your line because it's all within the body, right? The movement, the lines.
Yeah.
You know, the intention, our job as actors. So you might call a line or be like, you might flub. So that's sometimes when I've done that. I've done that.
You gotta.
But I knew my lines now.
Not if you calling it.
Well, if I'm readjusting myself and reacclimating to the new space, it might throw me off a bit, but that doesn't mean that I didn't.
During Tech?
You did that when you moved over. You didn't do that during Tech. Did you?
No.
Okay. So you have...
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah. Like,
we said calling line during Tech.
Because Tech is specifically for the designers.
The designer.
And they
don't need to be looking at your lines. They need to be looking at when to press the button.
Because they need you to be on point, because that might be a cue. Oh, that's a light cue. That's a sound cue. And if you call in a line and they're ready to crap, shit, I need that line. We have to be... That's our responsibility as actors, right? To be ready when it comes to Tech. Because the designers don't have that. And I'll talk about an experience that I had when I was doing Of Mice and Men. I had just wrapped Richard something, and I was playing Buckingham, which is line heavy in Shakespeare. And the older I get, the harder it gets to memorize Shakespeare. Okay. So I had gotten that shit so well that it was hard to me, everything. But then I started doing Of Mice and Men, and I was line heavy in that. I hadn't let go of the Buckingham piece yet. So I was still walking and talking. Like, I would do my lines as I walk. I was still doing Buckingham. I was done with that show.
Right.
And I'm like, oh crap, I gotta do this. So I would say it was either the week we were opening, and there was a scene that I was having the most hardest trouble with. It was a card table scene. And I was like, I don't, like... It was
just what retaining.
It was retaining. And I know my scene partners were like concerned and worried. And I knew they were, right? And I knew I felt that pressure. I was like, oh shit. But I knew, but it wasn't like tech, like we hadn't like done all that. But like, and I wasn't calling line though.
Okay.
Like,
just stumbling.
I was just stumbling up like, I was right. But I didn't call line, right? Because I knew what I should be saying. I just didn't know the words. And so I would just fake the funk, right? And I think that's the deal. It's like, you should know what you should be saying.
Well, you gotta know what ballpark you in.
Ballpark you're in to be able to at least...
Because you gotta fish your way out of it, because there ain't no calling line next week after Tech Week. No. Next week you're gonna be on stage, and the rest of the cast has to trust you.
Yeah. And
don't make them feel uneasy. But that also goes to a director. You don't send me into Tech Week with only one run.
Well, that's not the case a lot of times.
You can't prevent that.
Yeah, no. I'm going to make sure my cast is running.
You are going to make sure. Others don't.
Again, that's why I said the notice for directors.
And that is true.
Don't do that to your cast because you guys spend 10 million years working on Act 1 and you forget you need to give attention to Act 2.
Yeah.
And then you get us into Act 2 and we like, but Act 1 is sitting like this.
Act 1 sitting pretty, but Act 2 ugly as a most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things.
Act 2 don't get together till the closing week of the show.
That ain't fun.
Now that's a mess.
Yeah,
Don't
we
do
just have to
that.
make sure we give that space in that window.
Yeah.
But also, as an actor, don't sign up for something if you know you don't have the bandwidth.
And trust. That's how you gotta know yourself as an actor. To
And you gotta communicate.
And the thing is, I know, being 57, I can't do what I did when I was 40.
No.
Right.
Right? I don't take back-to-back roles. I didn't take them back then because I knew, especially with Shakespeare or something like that, and the line load, don't do it. Because I go, oh, yeah, I would love to. I can't do that to myself. But I know some actors will go back to back to back to back, and some are really good at it, but you're also missing, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
You miss out on the experience of really being in it. Mm-hmm. But I think in this instance, really, really, really know yourself and go, yeah, I'm going to have to pass on this as much as I want to take it. Or you commit. Like for that show, A Nice Man, I took the next day off.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat with my script.
Right. You knew, that's what I'm saying. You got to know who you are and what you got to do to get it done, right?
Baby.
Yeah. All right, so another piece of our center stage shade.
Yes.
This is probably really shady.
Just because I'm black don't mean I speak for the black community.
That's shady.
Yeah, this is really shady. So
Speak to this.
I'm gonna speak on it. When we went to go see a show in San Jose, during the intermission, I'm minding my black business, and I'm like, let me give me a little snack. So I go up to the concession stand, and I purchase my,
Your
snacks.
goodies.
And I'm trying to move, and then the person that works there is white, and proceeds to ask me, "Oh, have you been here to this theater?" And I was like, "Oh, I haven't. I haven't been here to this theater." It's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, I keep trying to believe. Keep grabbing me back in. And so basically what he says is, "Oh, what do you think of the show?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's good." And then he's like, "Well, we're really surprised. We've been working really, really hard and trying to get black people and more people in the seats." I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Have you reached out to the black community?" Well, and I was like, "Right." And then he said,
Wait,
yeah.
did he answer the question?
He was like, "Well, we have been trying." That's kind of like what he was flubbing, right? And so he was like, "Well, especially since it's Black History Month."
Whoa.
Now, when he said that,
You turned.
I turned and walked away. So I then found out that ShawnJ went up to the concession stand as well. He didn't have that interaction. That's not what happened. I'm like, why it gotta happen to me?
Because they wanted you to tell this story.
Because I'm a black woman.
Well, I really don't even know what to say to that. I'm like speechless because it's frustrating. It's frustrating to feel like every day I'm looked at to be a representative of
The
black folks.
spokesperson.
And granted, we have this platform and we do Creatively Shaded and we speak to.
But they didn't know that.
I don't know. Maybe your face is memorable.
I didn't go up.
It just doesn't mean that we speak for every single black experience. We don't speak for everyone. I speak for me and what happens to me. And Liz speaks for what she's okay with. We all have been experiencing life differently. And so to put us all in the same box and be like, well, how do you get your friends and your crew? Like, huh?
It's just in the way that the whole approach is just like stank. Like, don't do that. If you really, really want to engage, there is a proper way to do it.
There's a way, and there's a way to do it. There's a time and a place for everything.
And that wasn't it.
And that was her just going to the theater.
I'm just trying to
enjoy
get me a
the
goddamn
show.
cookie.
And sometimes you don't even know what I learned this thing that was you never know what somebody's carrying in their backpack.
No.
Everyone has in a backpack. And they're carrying things and we never know what they're carrying. Liz may have had a black experience. Somebody might have been rude to her and she may not even fool with black people no more, right? That could have been who she was. And for that white man to come up here and Liz could have been adopted by white folks, don't even know black people. You don't know. You don't know nobody's story. But if you would have approached it in the right way, where you're like, hey, what's going on in my community? Who can I is there an NAACP in my community? Is there a sorority or a fraternity or a club that's in my community, and I want to go over there and say, hey, I'm actually producing this black show. Here's some of my actors that are in this show. I think they deserve to have their community in this audience. How do I go about navigating a relationship between you and my theater company? But to reach to a random black woman who's in the audience, you have no idea who she knew on stage. You have no idea. She might have been a lighting person who wanted to just come learn about lights and see that show. Like, you got to be careful with people. You got to be careful.
Yeah, and that's a way to ask that question, because I think if he were truly
interested in knowing,
he would have said, hey, so how did you hear about the show? Mm-hmm. And then you would have, oh, well, I know Kathleen and I know Terrence. And so how long so are you an actor? Like, how do you know
them?
Like, really
engage.
That is the key word in community engagement, is to engage. With the people.
Assess and not accost. Don't accost people.
Yeah, because if he'd been like, have you been here before? And you'd be like, oh no. It's like, so
how did you hear about it?
The show?
Oh, I saw the flyer outside. Right. Oh, what turned you on about the flyer? No. I saw black folks. There's your door.
There's your assessment of your outreach. It's like, okay, when you saw a poster, that worked. Oh, you didn't see that. Like, that is the key to all of this with theater companies, is utilize common sense.
But can I say that common sense? We already know that common sense. We know it's
not common,
and it's not going. Common sense for white is not common sense.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's not.
Because we function completely different.
And that's why you need to tap into our humanity.
The humanity aspect will
conversation.
That's why you need to go and see a black love story and see how they communicate within their relationship.
Oh yeah,
you need to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gotta go see us and really start to, don't just whatever somebody else told you or one experience you've had with one black person that you've had in your life. Like, go see a play, go see our art, go understand us. And then you can communicate with us. But moving on, man. That's all.
Moving on, man. Moving on.
So sliding into the shade.
Oh, she didn't have a theme song.
Oh, I'm trying to make up all kind of theme songs. I don't think that any of them are sticking.
Into the shade.
Oh, you like it better like that?
Into the shade.
Y'all vote. Who y'all like? Y'all like my song, or you like ShawnJ is Barry White?
I don't know.
That wasn't white.
Oh, Barry Black?
Oh, you said Barry White.
Yeah.
I thought you said Barry White.
No, I would never.
I thought, come out this year. It's going to be Barry White. Enunciate. She had Barry White. Okay. Now.
All right. Here's the question.
Into the shade.
How do we create access for black children to become involved in theater with these known barriers? High cost, small amount of black teaching artists, other black attendees, navigating living in predominantly white communities.
So I remember as a child, and I'm like, these memories are coming back up. As a child, I used to be like, I want to make a theater that has 3 floors, and I want a floor for dancing, I want a floor for singing, and I want a floor for acting, and it's going to be all free, and all black people going to come, and they going to get all this for free. As a little kid, I used to say that. Mm-hmm. And it's coming back up to me as an adult in my 40s. Like, oh, remember when you used to say, what did you used to say when you want to be when you grew up? What did you used to say? And now that I've been working with students, it is my dream to work with black students. It's my dream to give them the gift that was given to me in the 7th grade. But it is true, we live in the Bay Area. And as a mother who lives in the Bay Area and who raised a child in the Bay Area, it was hard for us to do extracurricular activities. It was hard. So I did plays, and she was in the play with me. Like, I took her to my rehearsals. I took her to be in shows with me. But it was hard because we would be like on the bus, like trying to commute around the Bay Area and the traffic and it doesn't help that our black communities are suffering here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's important that these theater companies, if we're talking about community engagement, you need to take your theater camps and stuff outside of your building, and maybe go where it's feasible for those students.
Right.
If that means you go to the school that is a more black school, or you go to the Boys and Girls Club and
Or
have rehearsals.
EOYDC.
Or you go to the African American Arts Culture Complex and have your rehearsals there.
Yep.
But you have to take a step outside the box and know that it's not easy for parents to get their kids to extracurricular, especially theater. And theater requires a lot of rehearsal.
It does.
And a lot of commitment. So that also is training your community of what it is to put on theater and what it looks like. So that starts with, are you inviting them to the shows? And then if you're inviting them to the shows, have you invited them to your rehearsal process? Have you invited them to see what it looks like to put on a show? Have you done anything, community engagement, that shows that this is a safe place for black kids? If we don't even like coming to your theater to see a show because we don't feel safe, right?
Also, have you eliminated one of the biggest barriers, which is cost? What are you doing to make sure that the cost is as low or non-existent as possible?
Or are you applying for grants?
Right.
For black students, right?
Absolutely.
We're applying for grants that go, hey, we want to help black students. We're going to apply for this grant and use that money to make sure these students are able to get into your programs without cost.
Yeah, I know my niece, she was able to attend a theater camp on scholarship, and my sister found out about it through her school, but that's just one particular instance. And so we just have to, theater is so important to the youth. It's important to everybody. It's necessary. And it's so easy for you to say, oh, we just can't find people to come see the shows. That's not true. Just please do the work. Do the work. No, go ahead.
It's a nurturing of
it is
of your pool, because if you're nurturing young and emerging talent, they also bring with them their community.
Yes.
Which goes back to being in the community for the community.
It's an investment for the community.
It's a full-time investment.
It's not a new thing. That's how I started. When I started in the 7th grade, Melanie Wyatt, older white woman, thank you, Lord, for her, she went to all the schools in the city. She had auditions at every school in the city for 2 days. Then she would have callbacks at a central location that was we were in Morisseau, so bus accessible, that was close to the buses. She gave detailed information on the audition calls of what it looked like. And then when we had rehearsals, they were in the summer. They were 8 to 5, so parents did not have to worry about their kids while they were at school.
Yeah, they did.
They were 8 to 5. We had a lunch break. The lunch breaks were across the street from McDonald's, Taco Bell. Like, she made it in a convenient space. You had rules. We had to sign permission slips to go across. Some students couldn't go. Their parents didn't so they had to bring their lunches. She kept us all day. Not only did she teach us a play, but she taught us theater etiquette. How do you sit in the theater seats? How do you behave inside of a theater? You don't jump over the seats and do this and that and then this, third. She taught us theater games. We played theater games for hours in the morning just to learn. So we were all, and this is the thing about it. She did blind casting, and this is of course in the 90s. So she did shows that with blind casting. I mean, race was not a thing. That's how I learned theater. That's how I learned theater. So it can be done. And my mama didn't have not a damn dime.
Right.
And I was on scholarship, and I was able, and every year I got a bigger role. From the 7th grade to senior year, my roles got bigger because I started to learn what it was. I learned the behaviors, and then I was an example for everybody coming up against me. Then she put 7th grade through seniors in this play. 50 to 60 kids is one woman.
Ooh, Lord.
I don't know how she did it today. I got 24 of them in my play right now, and they drive me crazy. But she did, it was 50, sometimes 60 of us in this show. But she did it with half the help that I have now.
She's passionate about it.
She's passionate about it, and she loved everyone. And she thought that everyone deserved an opportunity. And she made sure that it happened. So the fact that here we are, 25 years later, and we're still trying to teach theater companies, like, I don't know what's going on. Why we gotta be inclusive? We gotta. She did it by herself with children. And we wasn't no boozy place, so we was putting it together, okay? We was good and had strong choreography, and she couldn't move. She was an old Broadway an old performance. She did musicals. Older. Sorry, Melanie, know what I'm trying to say. But she wasn't able to dance with us because she had hurt her hip. So she would choose one of us who I could dance, and she would make me go to her house, and she'd be like, okay, step, cross, step, 1, 2, 3. And I'd be like, what? And she'd like, do step, cross, step, 1, 2, 3. And then I'd go to audit shows and teach the entire cast. She did it all on her own by using her resources
And that's what you do.
and tapping into her community.
And
So
also,
it can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done.
and I also think that create a relationship with the performers that perform at your theaters as well, so that you can actually resource them to bring them in to teach workshops.
Because I'm
Use the
actually
actors.
teaching artists.
We're all teacher artists. I'm one too. So
And my truth is I don't teach for a lot of black students.
that's the truth too. I taught in.
It's my truth.
I had like one or
teach.
two students. In
Yeah,
every
and
like
they be
class.
so excited to
They
see
do.
Miss Faye, hey baby, hey, how you doing, baby? But yes, and I'd be so excited to see them too. Don't get me wrong, I love all my students.
Yeah.
That's one first and foremost. But
You wanna see us
I want to
there.
see
You
us
wanna see
there
yourself
too.
represented.
But I know that I'm in communities that are really investing in the arts, and what we are, our theater communities have to invest in their community.
Yeah.
So the upper class can invest in the arts.
Yeah.
But the lower class who don't have the money to invest in the arts need the arts to come to them.
Yeah.
And I'm saying
back.
you have to reach back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about some shows that
You should go see.
Yep.
So, and then you go talk about them on your social medias. Good, bad, and the ugly, yeah?
well we
Well, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I just want to add to that. So
Uh-huh.
here's, and this is just my point of view.
Yeah.
So Diva, they may not agree. When you do review a show, here's my preference or request: is talk about what you love, about what could be improved, maybe, but also say, but still go see it and have your own.
Have your own
experience.
experience.
Yes.
Right? Don't simply go. Don't go see this show, right? Because again, that's that thing.
That's your journey.
Thank you.
And your journey is
That's
not
your
like my journey.
individual lived experience,
Yes.
especially when you're talking to the masses,
Yes.
right?
But we don't need help with tearing down black art.
We don't.
They do it by themselves.
We don't need
Let
your
the
help.
others do that already.
Stay out.
We need to support each other.
Absolutely.
So,
We do not divide these up.
we keep talking about this, but West Coast premiere Bees and Honey at Marin Theater Company is a new play. Go ahead.
By Guadalupe Del Carmen.
I didn't want to say it wrong.
And that is an Afro-Latina featuring Jorge Lindenberg Jr., Catherine George, and intimacy coordinator Janae Simon. She worked
I've
with
been into
him.
Oh, nice.
So this is playing actually until the 10th.
No, really?
Yes, of
at Marin
March.
Theater Company. So go see it now. Go see it this
I'll see
weekend,
it.
next weekend.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
marintheater.org for more ticks.
All right. Also, world premiere play coming. Dirty White Teslas Make Me Sad will be at the Magic Theater. This show was written by Ashley Smiley about the regentrification of San Francisco and the displacement of black folks from their neighborhoods. This is featuring Anne-Marie Sharp and Tanika Baptiste. This show will be playing until March 17th, and you can get tickets at magictheater.org.
Next up is
Yay!
a personal one of mine. It is the world premiere of Unpacking in P-Town, playing at New Conservatory Theatre Center, also known as NCTC. Written by Jewel Gomez, directed by Kimberly Ridgway. Darling.
Yes, Kim!
Features Awele, Desiree Rogers, and yours truly.
Come on, we can't wait to see you, ShawnJ.
And it is former vaudevillians reunite the summer of 1959 during the start of a fight for the civil rights. It is a portrait of a queer artist of color who paved the way for others to live out loud and proud. Playing until March 31st. You can get tickets at nctcsf.org. There is also there is a discount code that I will have access to. Another note I would like to add is if you go to get tickets and it says it is sold out, please contact the theater to get added to the wait list.
Oh, nice. They have a waiting list.
So show up, get on the wait, because folks don't always show up, right?
Right.
So we want you in the seats. So even if it says it's sold out, get on that wait list.
Get an inbox and get on the wait list.
Alright.
Go see our ShawnJ tear it up.
All right, next we have Pipeline by Dominique Morisseau at African American Shakes. Directed by L. Peter Callender, featuring Atlantis Clay, IG Success, Leontine Mabele Mabong,
You better hit it.
Michael Jean Sullivan, and Gary Moore. After 2 incidents at his public school, Naya takes her son Amari out of the inner city public school and enrolls him at a private school far from home. When a third behavior event happens there, expulsion and possible criminal charges might be next. Naya must confront the decisions and sacrifices she's made to ensure Amari's success. Playing Saturday and Sundays, March 16th through the 31st. Tickets African-Americanshakes.org.
All right. We also have The Soul Never Dwells in a Dry Place. This is a workshop piece written by Rotimi. No, I don't know how to say his name very well. And I'm not going to butcher it. Directed by Idris Cooper. This piece uses theatrical collage to tell the story of a young black curator newly hired by a major American museum to mount a retrospective of 1960s artist Romare Bearden. As he struggles to fit Bearden's boundary-breaking work into contemporary categories, he is visited by the ghost of Bearden's influences. The workshop dates of this will be March 21st through 24th at 8 p.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Info, get your tickets at cuttingball.com.
And next up on the docket, we have Rent playing at Berkeley Playhouse until March 31st. It features Anthony Rollins Mullins, Miles Meckley, Josh Alvin, Sydney Jacobs, Allen, Salona Husband.
All right.
This is set in the East Village of New York City. Rent is about falling in love, finding your voice, and living for today. You can get tickets at berkeleyplayhouse.org.
And last but not least, honey, Sign My Name to Freedom, the unheard songs of Betty Reed Soskins. March 29th through April 13th, this show is being put on by San Francisco Bay Area Theatre Company. That's where I work. This show will be featuring the cast that I helped to make up.
Not bothered at all.
Catherine Ridley, Tierra Allen, Aida Pirzada, Jasmine Milan Williams, Luca Troutman, and directed by V. Elizabeth Carter. How do you chronicle 102 years of life? Bay Area icon Betty Reed Soskins has survived it all. In this world premiere musical based on her life, acclaimed playwright Michael Jean Sullivan weaves Soskins' original music in and out of the dialogue between the four Bettys: Little Betty, Married Betty, Revolutionary Betty, and Ranger Betty, as they take us through a century of Negro, colored, Black, and African American experiences of this young woman. Of this amazing woman. SF Backcode, so you can get your tickets at sfbackcode.org.
Yes, there are lots going on. So we please ask, get your asses in the seats, please.
And don't let, just because February is gone doesn't mean that you don't have so many Black artists, things that you can be a part of. The blackness, the joy continues. Go see all these Black shows. Inbox us if you have a show that we did not mention and you think that we should come see. Let us know early on so we can talk about it here on Creatively Shaded.
Yeah, and look for us out on these streets. And we're pretty approachable.
Yeah.
You can come up to us.
I am not approachable.
Oh.
That's why he didn't get the question.
Yeah, next time I walk around looking angry, I'm going to be looking mad. Don't
Well, it has been our pleasure to be here with you this week.
Before you wrap,
okay,
make sure you send us questions in our DMs Into the Shade, because we want to keep those coming to help grow and educate and inform any and everybody.
Or email us at creativelyshaded@gmail.com.
All right, y'all. We thank you so much for watching. Tag us, like us, share us, talk about us, say something good, post us on your social media.
Yes, because we
let people know that we are here, and we'll see you next time on Creatively Shaded. Have a good day.
And as always, stay fierce, fabulous, focused,
and Black.